Hey everyone, just wanted to take a couple minutes and go over our drum rig here at Harvest Chapel. We're going to go over everything from shells to hardware, cymbals, mics, and all the stuff in between. So let's dive in. All right, we are using a 70s Rogers kit along with a DW snare. The sizes are a 14x8 for the snare, 22-inch kick, and then 13 16-inch floor toms. And we are rocking the Remo coated heads. I just love the way that they sound and the warmth that they bring out with the vintage shells. And then for kick, we're running the classic, you guessed it, the Evans EMAD. That's what we're running right now. These shells are the original wrap, and I just absolutely love the way that they look. For cymbals, we are running Heartbeat cymbals. I have been using Heartbeat cymbals for 10 plus years and absolutely love being a part of that family. At the church here, we got them a series, they're 10 series, and we are running 17-inch hats. We are running a 22-inch crash up here. We are running a 24-inch ride that, yes, it's cracked, and we are waiting for our replacement to get in. And then over here is a 20-inch crash. All right, let's dive into microphones. So we recently upgraded the sound system here, and we went as overkill as we could, and we also planned for future inputs that we're gonna want. So with the kick, we are running the classic Shure Beta 91 and the Audix D6 on the out. For the snare, you can actually see here, we are actually running two mics on the top. We're running the SE V7X, and we're running a SM57. Now the SM57 will eventually move to a side snare, but we are using two right now because we did get a wave server, and we are using that second snare mic to just kind of mess around with plugins like Torque, One Knob, and just a couple others that we have. On the bottom snare, we are just doing a Sennheiser E604. Not my favorite mic for a snare bottom, but it's what we have. And it's also, it doesn't take up a lot of space as far as like needing a mic stand and all that. It just clips on. But my personal preference would be to get a mic that's on a stand that can get a little more under the center of the drum. But I have not been upset with how it sounded so far. For the toms, on the rack tom here, we're running an Audix D4. I actually love the way that this sounds compared to the D2. The D4 seems to bring out a little more of the body of the drum. And then on the floor tom here, we are rocking a D6, and we've just kind of experimented with it, but I am absolutely loving the depth and the clarity in the low end that this floor tom is bringing out. I am loving the way that it's sounding. For the hi-hat, we are running just a SE7 pencil condenser. And for the overheads here, we are running a pair of SE8s. We did have a SE drum mic kit, and we recently just swapped out, some tom mics. We just kind of messed around with different mics that we had in the toolbox, and just kind of picked what sounded the best. Oh man, I almost forgot hardware. So we are running DW5000 hat and kick pedal, and then all of our cymbal stands are Gibraltar, and that's just kind of what I've had. And then obviously the classic Rock and Sock drum throne. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're running for that. Now let's move over to all of the aux equipment. All right, so let's talk about in-ears. So everyone on our team is stereo, and we are just running the cheap Behringer P1s, but they are a stereo mix, and we run iPads. Everyone on the back line are running hardline, and then everyone frontline are wireless stereo packs. But these P1s have been, they're faithful. They don't break. They've been awesome. So I'm not going to replace them if I don't have to. So they've been great. Let's move on to my favorite piece of equipment that I own and that the church has. This is the Optigate. I will not leave home without this. If we're going to be playing at another church or doing an event outside, I will always have this in my bag. It's, again, my favorite piece of equipment. So what it is instead of having to have a foot switch down here that the drummer's having to step on or kind of flip a switch on the mic in order to talk, it's a proximity sensor. And when you get close to it, you'll see the red light turn on, the mic opens up, and then when you pull away from it, it closes. And when you get close, it opens, and then it closes. It does use phantom power, but this is amazing because that way this mic is not open at all times and we're hearing all the cymbal bleed and the drum bleed happening from while the drummer's playing. And when the drummer needs to speak, he just comes close to it, the mic opens up, and then when he pulls away, it closes. So this has just been an amazing piece of equipment, and every single person that I show it to or uses one, it's usually ordered the next week. They're usually ordering 1 or 2 of them. I wish I got commission on these because I've probably sold at least 30 to 40 of them. So that's the Optigate. Let's move down to the click track. So for the drum station here, we are currently just using the classic Boss DB90, and it's working great. We don't have any issues with it. To be honest with you, we're actually rarely using this. We actually have 2 click inputs. This is our drum click, and then we actually have a click input over at our keys rig, because a lot of the times our keys players are using Ableton and they're running arpeggiators. So usually we're allowing them to fire clicks and take care of all that. But this is always here and on as a backup, and our drummers always have a sticky note or something that we'll put in here where they can at least have the clicks ready to go to fire if needed. But yeah, no issues here, and this has been great. Now let's talk about the next most important piece of equipment when it comes to drums. It is not a shell, it's not a cymbal, it's not a mic. If you care about your drummers at all, and you're a worship pastor, worship director, and you're like, man, what can I do to care for my drummer? Please just buy them a $15 fan at Walmart. And if you really care about them, you can even label it drum fan. But every drummer loves to have a fan. Yes, we overheat when we play sometimes. Now, right now, our drum cage, we kind of got this custom made. We do not have a back on it currently. We are going to be building a back in the next couple weeks. And then this fan is going to be even more crucial for our drummers. So yeah, I highly recommend just spending $14 at Walmart and show your drummers that you really care for them. Now let's talk about labeling and cable management. So if you know me, you know how particular I can get about cable management. I highly recommend just taking extra time to run cables neatly. And if you have a label maker, I highly recommend just going on your XLRs and on each end, just putting, this says Tom 2 up there. That one will say overhead, overhead left, overhead right, the hi-hat. And it just really helps when you're, needing to move stuff, or there's a cable that's going bad or something's not working. It just helps you trace that cable easily. And we also, underneath is where we patch everything in. So right under here, we have a whole 16-channel stage box for our Avantis, sorry, I pronounced that wrong. And then backstage, we have a 48 channel. So all of our drum inputs patch in, our bass patches in, and then our in-ears for drums, bass, and then the 2 other back lines patch in here. So it just makes it easy, can just patch right in and come right up to the drums. But cable management, take the extra, 25 to 30 minutes to run all your cables neatly. I promise you will love the way that it looks. All right, final thing that I almost forgot about was the 2 lights that we had in our drum booth. So I had a buddy of mine that plays up at a church in the Harrisburg area, and he sent me a screenshot of their drum setup, and they had these lights on their drum booth. And I was like, oh my goodness, we need some. Because right now, this is what our drum booth looked like before. Whenever the drummers would play, you wouldn't be able to see them. So we ordered these off of B&H. They were like $22 for each light. So we ordered 2 of them. They're called the Quasar Science, I think Q15s. I'll put a link in the bio. But this is what the drum booth looked like before. And then when the lights are on, this is what our drum booth looks like now. and you can see the drummer, and it really just makes a difference from the outside. So that's our basic drum rig right now. Now I said that we were planning ahead for the future. So in the next couple months, we will be getting a Roland SPD pad, and we will be running a stereo channel for that, for all of the tambourines, the knocks, the verb stuff, any of the higher end sounds. And then we will also be running a third channel for the 808s and sub drops. So we do have that patched in. We just don't have it yet. The other thing that we're looking to get is a clap cymbal, and we want to put a specific mic on the clap cymbal. So we do have 4 more drum channels that we have patched on our console, but we don't have them yet. But we are thinking ahead, so that way we weren't having to find channels down the road. We already had them accounted for, because that is all stuff that we're wanting to do. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope this video was helpful and fun for you to watch and enjoy. If you have any questions, check the description below with some links to some of the things that were in this video, and more videos to come. Hope you enjoy. Have a great day.